somewhere in Germany in the mid-80s. What a lovely place. Lovely big hills, got a smattering of trees, a babbling river with a couple of fords, another big hill and some trees on top. Lovely little mill there, and some wheat fields ripe for harvest. I can hear some engine noises. Okay, so it transpires that this part of Germany wasn't particularly well mapped by either NATO nor the Soviets. But who can really be blamed? World War III only started less than 24 hours ago. So over here we've got Captain Bruce Hunter with his armoured combat team. This is his HQ, M1A1. He's got 2 more platoons of M1A1s. He's got some AA support with these 163 VADs. An M113 Fist OP over there, which is observing for these 106 mortar carriers. He does have more troops behind him, but this is the initial arrival. Over here, we've got Leonid Ctоик, and he's got a T80 Shock Company. So there's his little tank. We've got 2 platoons of T80s. They've got the AT-18 missiles, AT-11 missiles. I'll look up that. We've got BMP-1, which is an observer for these Hurricanes. We've got some Gecko anti-aircraft and some Gaskin anti-aircraft, so I'm guessing they're expecting quite a bit of aircraft. And a BMP-3 Scout platoon. So again, that's the initial units. There are more to follow should things really go south. So Leonid Ctоик, he won the initiative. So he bombed his tank with the BMP-3 recon platoon forwards across the fords. They all passed their cross-check. He sent a T-80 platoon forwards, who fired into these Abrams, but didn't break their armour. He brought these ones in support after it. All his AA stuff has moved up around the hill, and these BM-27 Hurricanes. This BMP-1 observer sort of aimed for the centre, or basically the HQ, because he could just about see round, and forced 2 Abrams to bail out, which is why the dice are next to them. Yeah, so that's the Soviets' first turn. Let's see what Captain Bruce Hunter can do. So the US turn. Well, the M1A1 platoons, they remounted the 2 tanks. And they advanced up 1 through this wheat field. The captain himself advanced up behind this wall and took a pot shot at the T-80s over there, and managed to absolutely destroy one. This platoon advanced over the ford, fired into these T-80s but completely missed. The AA guns have driven up and over and gone behind these trees. The M113 Fist decided to get out of there because that's a lot of firepower in its way, so it scooted to the left. So they're relatively safe, I guess. And then over here, the M106 mortars, they've moved up potentially to challenge the BMP-3s. So there we go. That was turn 1. So, turn 2, Ctоик, he brought his surviving T-80s up to the tree line, fired into the captain himself, forcing him to bail out, hence the dice. The BMP-3s have crossed the river, like being amphibious and all that, so they're heading towards the wheat field and these 106s. AA didn't do anything. This artillery, again successfully spotted, fired up and over this hill. Crashed down here with a salvo between these tanks, forcing just one to bail out, and no other damage. So they've done pretty well with their saves. Yep. So there we go. And yeah, he had a pot shot into the front of these, but again, nothing. So Ctоик himself hasn't actually caused any damage yet. So there we go. Turn 2 for the Soviets. Okay, so American turn 2, and the Yanks are pushing forwards to make some space for their reserves to come in. So these M1A1s fired into these, destroyed a T-80. There it is, burning away. This platoon drove through the wheat fields, come out the other side, opened fire, and forced this T-80 to bail out. These M106s managed to just be in range to fire a bombardment into here, but no effect on any of those vehicles. One was already burning, one was already bailed out. The 163s, the VADs, have moved to the side because they're just concerned that there's so much firepower in the middle of the table that that armour's not particularly thick. Yeah, so next turn we'll be getting reserves in, so I believe there's going to be some infantry and a few more missile vehicles. And as for the Russians, they're going to be getting more infantry and maybe some planes on the table. We'll see. So there we go, turn 2. Okay, so Komandир Ctоик is being a bit more proactive. So he drove his T80 through the woods, fired into this platoon and destroyed that M1A1 on the flank. His BMP3s drove up this hill and fired a missile into the flank of this and blew up that M1A1. That didn't remount and didn't get any good shots. These didn't get any good shots on these. Actually, that's a lie. That one bailed out. The BMP1 observer, another airstrike called in, but no damage whatsoever. So what I'm probably going to do next turn is maybe use those hurricanes to drop some smoke, because this centre's not looking particularly great. And the BMP2 Motor Company has arrived, but they're hanging back for the moment because, I say, until we can get a bit of cover or a bit of a swing of luck, because I've tried twice now to call in an airstrike, and the Frogfoots haven't arrived. So ideally, if we can get some air cover in, then give the Soviets a bit of a push. So there we go. That's the Soviets. Okay, turn 3. Very mixed turn for the Americans. So to start off with, the Abrams platoon that took basically knackered from the front and knackered from the side. He broke, fled. And then we had some Bradleys arrive who drove up, amphibiously crossed the river, and they're now there. The 106s fired a smoke bombardment here just to give a bit of a reprieve for the Americans, because I'm not sure about the Bradleys. However, having said that, I now realise that the Bradleys are a little bit exposed to the Soviet tanks. So, whoops. Hunter fired, didn't achieve anything. So this is the interesting one. The 901s, the M901s, came in, drove in tactical into the field, and because of how high the hill is, they fired their tow ones and completely destroyed the BMP3s that had broken the Abrams. So the Russians don't have much on this flank anymore, but they do have a lot of vehicles and some very heavy artillery, and some planes if they ever show up. But the Americans have now got everything on the table as well, so they've got the missiles, but some heavy bombardments might not serve them too well. So there we go, that's turn 3. So turn 4 for the Soviets, and the Frogfoots finally arrived, just out of range of all of NATO's AA weapons. Well, I say AA weapons, a couple of machine guns and those VADs all the way over there. Anyway, so Ctоик, he withdrew out the trees, lined up a shot against that platoon of M1A1s, but missed. His T80 platoon here advanced into the NATO smoke and fired into them. Again, no successes. And the Soviets fired their own smoke barrage into the NATO smoke barrage, so that won't actually clear, because now it's Soviet smoke on the next turn. The BMP2s advanced up the hill and fired their Spandrel as AT5s into the Bradleys and destroyed one. And then these, obviously the Frogfoots flew in, fired some missiles, and that's why one of those tanks is now knocked out. So there we have it. So the Soviets are, well, it's a bit of a mess in the centre, but we'll see what the Americans have got to bring to the table. So American turn 4, bit of a retcon first. So when the M901s arrived in the last turn and drove in, and then did that amazing shot at the hill that destroyed those two BMP3s that had destroyed the Abrams, they couldn't do that because the tow ones can't be moved and fired in the same turn. So what I've done is I've said they come in, maybe their targeted computers or something was going on where they misidentified those BMP3s. The American turn, I gave the BMP3s a free shot against the M901s, which they missed entirely. So no fair, no foul, all good. As for the actual American turn 4 then, so Hunter got 2 decent shots off that destroyed both those T80s, so that was very impressive. These fired into these T80s, no success. The M2 Bradleys, so the one that got knocked out, it did manage to get its passengers out, and then all of them dismounted on their turn, and they've all managed to get into the woods, which is good for cover, but bad because they're now too close to the T80s to really use their Dragon, M47 Dragons? Yeah, the anti-tank missiles. In addition, these Bradleys opened fire with their Bushmaster guns, 25mm, into the BMP-2s on the brow of the hill, knocked out 3 of them, and as you'll see, some of the passengers are dead, so they lost an AK-74 team and an RPG-7 team. But there's plenty more Russians to come spewing over that hill, cause some issues. The VADs, which were over here, have pushed up more to the centre of the table, just in case those frogfoots come back, because they were no use far away, and obviously the Americans have lost a few tanks. And the M106s, because they've got such a limited range, unlike the Hurricanes, which can shoot 3 meters, which is basically anywhere on the table, these things have only got an 80cm range. So they can only really target the centre of the table, and I'm waiting for that smoke to clear, really. So they've not really done much, but now those BMP-3s are there, they're in a bit more of an issue than I'd originally anticipated. But hey, my fault, so we'll live with the consequences. So there we go, that's turn 4 for the Americans. So Commander Ctoic's turn 5. So his movement did all right, so he managed to call his frogfoots back. It got them in a position to attack the tanks. The smoke cleared, so his T80s are a bit exposed, but hasn't been an issue as of yet. The BMP-3s came down from the hill, and now nestled behind this corner of this wheat field to go into the 106s. The BMP-2s unloaded the rest of their infantry, who are now storming down this hill, and then the surviving ones manoeuvred just halfway down the slope, and then nothing at the back moved. So in terms of shooting then, the T80s destroyed the VADs, the Frogfoots fired their missile and destroyed another M1A1, so there's going to be another morale test there for that unit. The BMP-3s unloaded their 100mm 2A70 guns into the 106s, caused one to bail out, that was it. What else? Yeah, the infantry. So the infantry, just a hail of bullets into the concealed US infantry. They took quite a few casualties, but they're still holding on. The BMP-2s, they used their 30mm 2A42 guns into the Bradleys, knocking out another one. Yeah, so going to be a few morale tests, I think, potentially coming for the US soon, because the Russians have they've got air superiority, and their tanks, well, what few tanks they've got, like Ctoik back here, and the small platoon there, and all that infantry. Yeah, they're now squeezing the Americans. You've got a bit of a front line, but it could crack anywhere. So let's see what they do. So the Americans are holding on by the skin of their teeth. So let's see what happens, shall we? Right, movement-wise, well, let's start with this one. So they didn't get back in the M106. Just too much pressure from those BMP-3s, apparently. The M113 Fist shifted behind this wall to give a bit of extra covering fire. And the M2 Bradleys, the surviving ones, advanced to take on whatever's coming down this hill. In terms of actual combat, right, so the 106s did get 2 very good shots and knock both of the BMP-3s out, so that was good. Hunter's Abrams destroyed one of the T80s, and the last surviving one for this platoon took out the other one, because he did survive the morale check. The Bradleys fired everything they had, didn't make a dent, and the infantry, the US infantry in the woods, fired everything and shot the leader, and then he just deferred to that unit there. So they've only lost 1. There's a lot of firepower, especially with those PKMs as well. And they've got obviously the RPG-7, so they can get a lot of firepower on the exposed American vehicles. So yeah, I think the Russians, they've got Yeah, they've got a lot to play with here. I mean, they've still got their frogfoots if they come back. This is going to end up in an assault, which isn't going to look very good for the Americans. These BMPs, they've got their 85 spandrels. They could take those out, and they've got the Hurricane and BM-27s, and that BMP OP, the observation post. Yeah, which has been the reason for all the chaos in the centre, really. Nice little position he's in there. So there we go. Let's see what the next turn brings. So turn 6, and it was Ctoik to go first. He didn't advance anything, and he didn't get the frogfoots back on the table. So it was just basically down to what I could shoot with. So didn't assault with the BMP Infantry Company. So they've just fired everything they had into that. Well, they were concealed and gone to ground, being in those woods. So only killed one more team of US infantry, which had to be forced them to reassign the leader to that last remaining SAW unit. They're down to 4, so they will be testing for morale if they lose another couple. The BMP-2s fired their 30mm, destroyed another Bradley. There's no more tanks. They've got, oh yeah, Ctoic's got his tank, but he's nestled quite nicely in those trees. The BMP-1 tried to call in an artillery barrage to knock out the Fist and the Abrams, but no luck there. So the Russians really are reliant on what this right flank can do, and when the aircraft come in. So there's Su-25 Frogfoots. They're really the game changer on this now. So yeah, there we go. Let's see what the Yanks can do. Okay, the Americans now consolidating. So sadly, the Bradleys broke. They lost too many, and as did the Abrams. So they've lost quite a few platoons now. Yeah. So the 106s have bombed across this field and now getting closer to try and drop some artillery on that infantry, but I think they're probably going to close the gap before it gets that far. The same with the 901s. They dashed across the ford and now behind these trees, which isn't particularly useful, but hey ho. Yeah, Hunter's pulled his tank out and has made his way to the ford, so just sort of bringing vulnerable units back, really. Yeah, but I think no great losses. The infantry in the woods got a shot off and killed another Soviet infantry team. But yeah, so it's oh dear, it's not too great for the Americans. I think there's a lot of smoke here, because I was hoping you might be able to get a shot through, but there's just so many vehicles on fire, brewed up and on fire, that you can't quite knock that very annoying BMP-1 out. But there we go, Ctoic's turn's next. Okay, turn 7 for Ctoik. There he is in his Command T80, observing the absolute chaos over here in the river valley. So, he tried to call in air support, but the Su-25 Frogfoots weren't coming, so what he did instead was he advanced his BMP-2s down the hill. They opened fire with their 30mm, knocking out the M113 Fist and taking out another infantry squad of the US. That was then followed up by an assault later on with the Soviet infantry coming down the hill, who've pushed the US out, so that's the only last 2 surviving units of the mech platoon. He brought the BMP-1 observation unit out, hoping to drop some artillery here earlier, but that couldn't get the range, so never mind. And his T-80 is staying there, because why risk it, really? Yeah, so in terms of formation, morale, etc., well, of the original T-80 Shock formation, we've still got the BMP-2 mechanised with its infantry. We've still got the Gaskins, who have been of no use, but they are part of the force. And we've still got our HQ of Ctoik. So that's technically fine. As for the Americans and their armoured combat team, we've still got Hunter in his HQ, we've still got the M106s, and we've still got the M901s. None of which are going to be particularly helpful now. So I think it's the Russians to lose this one. Well, yeah, it's the Russians who, the only way they're going to lose is to mess up themselves, because they've still got the air power, which if it comes in, that's going to cause chaos. They've still got the big BM-27 Hurricanes with their insane table range, so they'll be able to take out swathes. And then we've got all these BMPs with their missiles, and they're pretty good 30mm guns. So yeah, we'll see what the next and probably last turn brings. Okay, so all I've done is pull all of the surviving US troops back into the field. So we've drawn the Abrams, the HQ, we've withdrawn the M901s, and we've withdrawn the M106s. Because obviously we lost the infantry because they failed the morale check. They say it's just, they're all burning. Everything's gone. So it's the Soviets to basically come and kill me off, really. So we've got one T80, one BMP, three BMP2s, all that infantry, artillery, and we've got those planes. If the planes come in, I don't hold out hope for the Americans, and I don't think they've got much chance either. So we'll say the next turn is the last turn, I think, and whatever comes out of that will be the result. But I think it's going to be the US having to withdraw with their tails between their legs. Okay, so Ctoik, he came from around the trees, round the ford, and has come here, where I believe he's just concealed by the wall and the crops. So he's not in any great danger there. The BMP-1 observation team, they drove forwards, tried to zero in over here, but couldn't range in with their 3 attempts. The Soviet infantry has left the woods, has come into this area, and fired off some of their RPG-7VRs, whatever they are, the slightly better rocket launchers, knocking out a 901, and then one of the teams tried to take on the Abrams, and that just pinged off. And the BMP-2s are snaking their way around the woods, trying to do a follow me order to try and bring them into use, but no, failed that. So yeah, and yeah, no aircraft, well, natural ones. So those frogfoots are obviously ignoring Ctoik's calls. But there we go. So let's see what Hunter does. And before the US could even get going, the M901 fails its morale check and basically kiboshes the rest of the US turn. So that's it. I mean, there's nothing really they can contend with on this table now. They've got one tank as a HQ, can't lose that, and some indirect fire mortar carriers that have got no spotter left, because there he is, smouldering away. So yeah, I think the Americans have to withdraw now. But yeah, that was me trying Team Yankee. Hope you enjoyed it. I quite enjoyed Team Yankee, to be honest. It's been a long time since I played Flames of War. I mean, at least 10, maybe even 15 years ago. So this is me trying to get back into this kind of thing. But yeah, do love a strike aircraft and do love a tank table. So that's all good. So I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you around. Bye. So, as I said, I've played Team Yankee a long time ago. I tried it in 6mm because I wasn't too keen on the look of the 15mm car park thing. You know, where the tanks are all too close together. So I thought, well, I'll try it in 6mm, which, yeah, not really that enamored with 6mm over the years. I've tried 2mm, 6mm, 10mm, 15mm, 28mm, 25mm. Yeah, so I've tried quite a few. Anyway, yeah, so this is my first try. I did Flames of War years ago. That was all right. This seems better. I do like the missiles. It's just something about missiles. Who knows? But yeah, there we go. And I'd quite like at some point to try these miniatures with Cold War Commander, because I do have that rulebook and never played it. I know it's similar to sort of War Master, Black Powder, that kind of rolling for orders kind of thing. So it'd be quite nice to try it, but again, my brain gets addled quite quickly. I mean, I do these videos primarily just so I can look at it and go, oh, that's how that plays. Oh, that makes sense. Because I tend to invite people around, let's play a game, and then I spend most of the time with my nose in the rulebook going, how does this work? Well, at least if I film it, I kind of get the feel for it, and hopefully you can get an idea of how these games work. So yeah, so I've had a bit of free time, that's why I've been doing these videos, and hopefully hopefully somebody enjoys them. I mean, I quite like doing them. Gives me an excuse to actually get all this stuff out. I mean, the last couple of years I've been getting into miniatures painting. I mean, all this stuff here and the several other boxes of Team Yankee stuff I've painted, I've only been doing for the last couple of weeks. So you can see how much spare time I've had. Going crazy. Oh dear. But yeah, I hope you enjoy it. And so if you've got any suggestions for future videos or what you'd like to see, because I've got other things. I mean, I've got loads of fantasy armies in that 10mm scale when I did that Night Goblin Dwarf game. I've got American Civil War stuff, again, that Black Powder Epic. What else? I've got some Mythic Americas from Warlord, where you can have undead Aztecs versus, what's the other one? What are they called? Tribal Nations, that's it. So sort of Iroquois, Mohican type things. Yeah, so, and also, like I said, I've got loads of this still to paint, and ideally, catch up with some friends and get these things to the table, because the last game I played face-to-face was Firefight by Mantic. Very good game, highly recommended. And we played some Bolt Action, which, my God, not a massive fan of Bolt Action. It's all right. Anyway, as you can tell, I'm just rambling now. But yeah, I thought I'd just get my say in, as I've been doing this for a month or so now, and there we are. So, hope you enjoyed it, and yeah, so any tips, any advice you want me to stop, for the love of God, tell me. But I quite enjoy it. It's a bit therapeutic, really, a bit cathartic, shall we say. Right, anyway, all the best. See ya.